Okay, let's talk a little bit about transplanting. Earlier, we discussed germinating, and I have my little guys here all set to be transplanted. They're coming along beautifully, but time to give them a little more dirt to grow into. So, potting material. You can go to the store, pick up something like this. It has sphagnum moss. It's got some vermiculite in it and a bunch of micronutrients. That works well. Here's another one. It's a seed starting mix. Now I use this to start my microgreens during the winter. It works quite well. Then I have this bucket. Now this is my own mix. So if you want to go to the store and get yourself some vermiculite, that's a lot of what I use. You can see the vermiculite in there. It's great for soil, the water retention. It keeps your soil nice and loose and fluffy, so you get more oxygen in. And also, it puts in the necessary zinc that you need. You don't need a lot of zinc, but you need a touch. So that's my mix there that we'll be using today. Just put it down to the side for the moment. So, another thing are these little pots. You get these from the greenhouses all the time. You see they got the little holes in the bottom. Just dropped them in this tray, and this is what we're going to be using. So one thing to know, when you have done your seedlings, you put them in to these pots, you never want to water from the top. These little plants, they're small, they're tender. You always want to water from the bottom. So I have this tray. It's actually part of one of these here little greenhouses. Now this is Planter's Pride greenhouse. So it's a mini greenhouse for starting seeds. These work good. So I've got my tray and I've got these sat in. Now then, another thing about what soil you can use, if you are looking for an economical way of doing things, you can go to the store and you pick up some sphagnum peat moss and your vermiculite. You mix them half and half. Add in a little garden lime. You get that with the potting mixes. That's one of the micronutrients they put in there. But your garden lime, add a little of that. Now there's all sorts of little other things you can add in. But for just starting your plants out, that's really all you need. A little garden lime, dolomite lime, sphagnum peat moss, and vermiculite. So you got a nice big bag of vermiculite. You probably won't use it all. You might, but what's great about this is come fall, when you start lifting your bulbs, like your amaryllis bulbs and that, what you do is you take them and just bury them in the bag for the winter. And that actually works really good. So, we have our trays. We have our mix. So I'm just going to put a little in each of these. Now this is the same mix that I'd done up earlier in one of my other videos, so try to get them sort of semi-even. It's not terribly important to them. To be dead even. Just helpful. That's good enough. Now you see how this is all nice and light and fluffy still. And it's still moist from when I mixed it up earlier. I think I want just a little bit more in that one. There we go. So, here's my little seedlings. And all you do is you take your peat pellet and put them in. Now you see how there's some roots here coming out the bottom of the peat pellet? That's why we need to get her done now. Now there's one, they're barely starting to come, but they are coming. You can see again on this one. You might be able to see it a little clearer on this one, the roots that are coming out. So it's definitely time to get these guys transplanted. And here are my California poppies, and you can see how their roots are really getting going. So they definitely need to be transplanted. So these plastic guys are great because they'll just fill right full of roots. And then all you do is you pop the bottom up, the root plug will come up, you're good to go. Or you could use these little coir preformed pots. They're great. Basically, you just plant them right in soil. Or you can use these. Now, I don't know what these guys are made out of, whether it's, you know, decomposed or compost available paper product, or whether it's a cow pot that's made out of cow fecal material. I don't know. I won't be using that one today. It's a little larger, and I'll use that for some of my other plants. So we'll get some of this in these guys as well. Move my tray off to the side. Uh-oh. There's a seed that germinated that had just fallen down beside the peat pot, or the peat button. It germinated with no soil whatsoever. So just tuck a little bit around the edges. Just to finish it off a bit. Same with these guys here. I'll tell you, this year I'm going to have some great flowers. If you never really grown any of these little Clarkias, they are a beautiful little flower. A number of years ago, we went to this estate in town, and it's a historic site. And they have gardeners there that work on the gardens, volunteers of course, and they planted some of these Clarkias. And I'd never seen them before. I thought, these are great. So then of course I was on a search to find out exactly what they were and where to get them. And because they are a flower that, it's an old flower that our grandparents probably grew. So, of course, like everything else, it fell out of favor. And now it's making a nice slow comeback. And the first year I tried to find them, man, it was quite the search. But now, the seed catalogs are carrying the seeds, and a lot of the little greenhouses around are now having them as bedding out plants. So that's great. They should be relatively easy to find if you're interested. Just about got her done. Now those little roots you saw coming out, they've got lots of space to expand into. And they'll develop a great root system. There. Just give them a little bit of a rattle round to level them out. There. And there we have them transplanted. Just put that back down there. Now, basically, you never want to water from the top. I'm just going to get my spray bomb and just dampen the top, just to help hold the dust down, but you don't want to actually water from the top. You'll want to water from the bottom. And at this point, and I'm certainly guilty of it, the people love their plants too much. Oh, I must start fertilizing them. No, they don't need fertilizer. Probably for the first month, at the very least. The other problem is overwatering. You'll end up drowning your plants. So what you want to do is water from the bottom, and the top will get damp. Pour the excess water out, and then what you do is you wait till the top is starting to get fairly dry. The top centimeter, probably the top 2 centimeters. When it's dry, then you can water again. But there'll be water still in these pots deep down. So the roots will actually reach deep into these pots if you do it that way. If you keep watering from the top, the roots don't have to grow down deep, and there you'll be. So here I have a jug of water. We'll just pour some in there. That's got lots in there. And then probably after about 2 hours, I'll take my syringe, which I have here for measuring the various and sundry fertilizers and liquids that I use. I'll just suck all that water back out, and we're off and running. So that's it for today. These guys can go back in my light box and sit there. And hopefully spring will come shortly, and I'll be able to get these guys out and planted. And I certainly say hopefully, because today we were out shoveling snow again. We got about 3 inches of snow last night, and we're supposed to be below freezing for the next week. So these guys can sit in my light box in there and quite enjoy themselves. So that's it for today. I hope you have a great week, and hopefully I'll be back next week with another video. Cheers.